Welcome to the results video for UFC 305, Du Plessis vs Adesanya, where we will find out which UFC prediction channels had the most and least correct picks, won and lost the most money if you followed all of their picks, and which channels have the longest winning and losing streaks. But first, let's look at the totals for this event. On this card there were 12 fights and 80 channels made a total of 870 predictions. So on average each channel made predictions for 10.9 fights. Compared to other weeks, this week a lot of channels made incorrect predictions. Only 54.6% of all predictions were correct. The average is above 61% over the last 2 months. And 45.4% were incorrect from all channels combined. The reason for this lower than average correct pick percentage is of course that this week the underdogs won a lot of fights. The favorite in odds won only 5 out of 11 fights. As the fight between Du Plessis and Adesanya was exactly even in odds, we can't count that fight for this part. And 6 out of 11 fights the underdog won, which were Jesus Aguilar, Casey O'Neill, Ricardo Ramos, Walter Walker, Dan Hooker, who was the biggest underdog with plus 320 in odds, and Kai Kara France. So this was the week of the underdogs. And because of that, you would have lost $459 if you had placed a $100 bet on the favorite fighter in odds to win the fight for every fight on this card, for a return of investment of minus 41.7%. But if you placed a $100 bet on the underdog for every fight on this card, you would have won $495 for a very nice return of investment of 45%. The favorite in picks from the Tapology community won 6 out of 12 fights for a loss of $368 and a 30.7% negative return of investment. And the prediction channels on YouTube were the best this week at predicting the outcomes of the fights, with 7 out of 12 correct. So by following all of their picks for favorite fighter, you would have lost the least amount of money with minus some $173 and a return of investment of minus 14.4%. For this next part, we will look at channels who make predictions on at least half of the fights, so 50% or 6 minimum. Also, all picks that a channel made count. High or low confidence doesn't matter. A pick is a pick. Which channels have the least correct picks this week? At number 4, we have these 12 channels. They all had 5 out of 12 picks correct for a 42% correct pick percentage. In third place with least correct picks is the Ice Files. He had 4 out of 10 predictions correct or 40% correct. In second place for least correct picks is Based Goddess. She had 4 out of 11 predictions correct for 36%. And in number 1 this week for the least correct picks is Fight Fiend Forecast. He only had 3 picks correct out of a total of 12 predictions, so his correct pick percentage was only 25%. But if we ignore the minimum requirement of picking at least 6 fights, the results look a lot different. In number 1 for least correct picks are Bro No Cap, Max Holloway and Michael Venom Page. They all had 0 correct picks. In second place would have been Kamaru Usman with only 1 out of 5 correct for 20%. In third, together with Fight Fiend Forecast, is Santino DeFranco. He had 1 out of 4 correct, also for 25%. In fourth was Demetrius Johnson with 1 out of 3 correct for 33%. And Henry Cejudo would have been 6th together with the Ice Files with 2 out of 5 correct for 40%. Now let's look at which channels had the most correct picks this week. But before we do, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you like the content and find it informative and helpful. I would appreciate it a lot. Thank you. In 7th place are these 8 channels with 8 out of 12 correct picks for a 67 correct pick percentage. In 6th place is Premium Picks with 7 out of 10 correct for 70%. In 5th is MMA Attic with 8 out of 11 correct for 73%. 4th is Kunath with 9 out of 12 for 75%. He was the best predictor last week with 89% correct, so he's having 2 good weeks in a row. In third place for most correct picks this week is Have the Battle, with 8 out of 10 for 80% correct. In second place is BetSlamWithSam. He had 9 out of his 11 predictions correct for 82% correct pick percentage. And in first place this week for most correct predictions we have MomsBasementMMA, Pure Picks and Uncle Weezy. They all had 10 out of 12 predictions correct for a correct pick percentage of 83%. So congratulations to all 3 of them for having the most correct picks this week. And as always, here is an overview with all the channels, their correct picks, their total picks and the correct pick percentage. Which channels would have lost or won you the most money if you followed all of their picks this week? Let's find out. For this next part of the video, we assume that you blindly follow every pick a channel makes and bet $100 on the outcome for each fight, regardless of the channel's confidence of the pick or the odds. For the most unprofitable predictor this week, we have Bro No Cap in 6th place. And what's amazing is that he only made 5 picks this week and he lost them all for $500 loss and a return of investment of minus 100%. So he has the worst return of investment this week together with Max Holloway and Michael Venom Page, who also had minus 100% return of investment with 0 out of 3 picks correct. In 5th place is the Ice Files, who lost $1 more for a loss of $501 on his 10 predictions for a minus 50% return of investment. In 4th is Brando MMA, who lost $505 on his 12 predictions for a minus 42% return of investment. In 3rd place are MMA experts Sean from Running Mouth MMA Show, Ben Duffy from Sherdock.com and Sportsbook Killer. They all made the same 12 predictions and lost $510 for a minus 42% return of investment. In 2nd place are Dissection of Violence and The Weasel. Both lost $559 for a minus 47% return of investment. So 2nd to 6th place are all pretty close in terms of money lost. But in number 1 this week as the most unprofitable predictor who lost a lot more money is Fight Fiend Forecast. If you made a $100 bet on all of his picks for the outcome of the fight, you would have lost $830 for a minus 69% return of investment. Now let's see which channels would have won you the most money this week. At number 10 for most profitable predictor this week is MMA El Dente. He would have won $188 for a 15.7% return of investment. Number 9 is Brandon from Santino DeFranco. He would have won $191 for a 38.1% return of investment on his 5 predictions. So a very nice return of investment. At number 8 is Have the Battle. He made 10 predictions this week and he won $322 for a 32.2% return of investment. In 7th place is Cody from the Mayo Media Network or the Docker Pass podcast. He won $1 more for $323, but he made 12 predictions, so his return of investment is a bit lower with 26.9%. In 6th place we have King of Crackdown 5095. He won a little bit more with $326 on his 12 predictions for a return of investment of 27.2%. In 5th place is Pure Picks. He made 12 predictions as well and won $522 for a 43.5% return of investment. In 4th place is Kunath with $561 in profit for a 46.8% return of investment. Then in 3rd place we have MomsBasementMMA. He would have won $602 for a 50.2% return of investment if you followed all of his picks this week. Then in 2nd place we have Uncle Weezy. All of his picks could have won you $672 for a 56% return of investment. And in 1st place this week for most profitable predictors is BetSlamWithSam. He made 11 predictions this week and if you followed all of his picks you could have won $800 for a very good return of investment of 72.7%. So congratulations to BetSlamWithSam for being the most profitable predictor this week. Here is the overview with all the channels, their money won or lost and the return of investment. For the longest losing streak, we start with 3 weeks. The reason why is because there were just too many channels on a 2-week losing streak. So that tells you something. These 10 channels are currently on a 3-week losing streak. And 8 of those channels are on a 4-week losing streak. And out of those 8 channels, 3 are on a 5-week losing streak, which are Axel MMA, Lucas Tracy MMA and UFC Thoughts. Unfortunately, Lucas Tracy MMA quit YouTube for now, so we will never know if he would continue his losing streak or get out of it. And out of these 3 channels that are on a 5-week losing streak, only one is on a 6-week losing streak. And that channel is UFC Thoughts, who is now the unfortunate record holder for longest losing streaks with 6 weeks. And now we'll find out which channels are on the longest winning streaks. And there are only 4 channels who are on a 2-week winning streak. Kunath, MMA Attic, Once Upon a Slugfest and Uncle Weezy. So the last 2 weeks seems to have been pretty rough for most channels. And only 2 out of those 4 channels are on a 3-week winning streak, which are MMA Attic and Once Upon a Slugfest. And only 1 is on a 4-week winning streak, which is MMA Attic. So congratulations on the longest winning streak for MMA Attic. Don't forget to check out all the channels who performed the best this week. You can find links to them in the video description below. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed the content or subscribe if you find this information helpful or informative. Thank you all for watching and I'll see you next Thursday for the preview video.